it's so interesting that the French authorities, right? And listen, the media of the world, right? When every Arab country got rid of their leaders, right? They all labeled this the Arab Springs. And they were saying, yeah, the people are liberating themselves, etc., etc. Oh my God, it's amazing, right? Why? Because Occidental countries were behind all these revolutions. The CIA, they were using Facebook, they were like creating revolutions in Ukraine, in Arab countries, etc. And they were just pushing, showing people how to revolt, showing people how to overthrow the governments. And they were just trying to reshape the world from outside using their intelligence, right? But now that it's happening right now in the ex-French colonies, they don't call it the African Springs. It seems like it's like, oh, armies are, yeah, these people were, the France don't know exactly what to do. And I'm going to put a map of the world here. Let me go to Google Maps. Because that is very interesting. All right. Look at this. Yeah, this is me. Now, let me go back down a bit. And here we are. So what is interesting right now is that if you look at Africa, right? All this part here, Western Africa here, and Gabon, Cameroon. It's interesting, but all these used to be the sphere of influence of France. And it feels like the whole sphere of influence of France is going to slip out of their hands. So we had Niger last month with the actual president who was elected, who got removed by the military. That's Niger, where France gets all their uranium to light their electric centrals, their nuclear centrals, where the uranium comes from Niger. Now you had Burkina Faso that is starting to say that they don't want to be part of this anymore. Senegal, we had problems 2 months ago, and now it's Gabon today. Gabon, where France gets a lot of its oil through ELF. And Putin said something that was very interesting. He said you don't need to fight France as Russia. All you need to do is remove all the African countries from the prevent France from sucking the blood of all these countries, and then France will just be poor. And I don't know if Russia has its hands under all this. It might be possible that they have a sphere of influence, but it is true that Occidental countries like France, don't forget that all these people have a money that is called the franc, which is an insult. That is like, it's a continuous insult. And all these people are not saying, not all of them, but a lot of them are starting to say, listen, we here, why do we have all our money controlled by this country? And this country is like, they don't know what to do because they cannot assassinate people like they used to do. They cannot, and it might be a difficult time ahead for France because we are seeing, so let me see what happens in Niger. So look at this. And the EU is doing the same thing as always. They want to do, they don't understand that the sanctions is the worst idea that you can do to countries, because now people have the choice. If you sanction them, they can just join the other group, the BRICS, and they can be like, you want to sanction us? No problem. We'll sell all our stuff to other people, because people are tired of 15% of the world trying to rule and decide what is good or bad for the rest. People want to, for themselves, take decisions. Yeah, it can be bad decisions, but they want to figure it out between themselves. And I believe the people who have been used to having their hands for the last 100 years in the hands of these countries, in everything in these countries, especially in their resources, are not understanding. They're like, no, I mean, this is not the way it is. This is not the way it should be. And the people are like, yeah, that's the way it's going to be now. And see, the EU is waiting sanction on Niger as Gabon is hit by latest coup. So it might be a domino now. The European Union is considering sanctions on Niger. Defense and foreign ministers are discussing the possibility of sanction at an informal summit in Toledo, Spain, after military forces in Niger last month deposed President Mohamed Bazoum, who was democratically elected in 2021. News also broke Wednesday that military officers in Gabon seized power in a fresh African putsch. Gabon and Niger follow Burkina Faso, Guinea, Mali, Chad as the latest African countries where the army has in recent years seized control. All these countries are former French colonies. So, personally, I believe that you have to look at history to understand the present, and you cannot just all be surprised at what is happening right now and be like, oh my God, this is happening. No, there are reasons for all this. And the reason is a lot of the people who have been placed, like, listen, for those who speak French, there's a podcast called Décolonisation by Pierre Aski on France Inter. Listen, this is an amazing podcast that explains to you the way everybody arrived to the liberation, where a lot of them, they helped France win the World War. They helped France defend itself, and in exchange, they all won the independence. But France continued wanting to seize a lot of the resources for a good price and for an unfair price. And they also put a lot of people in power, and they protected them staying in power as long as they had their interest fulfilled, and of course, then they would let them be rich and whatever. And it feels like it's not working anymore. The people are starting to say enough. And I believe that France has enough on its hands with its own population becoming beyond control, and all the all the international turmoil and all the money that they spend for COVID, Ukraine, etc. This is becoming too much for all these people. And there are now two new forces. Like you have the BRICS, which is the new ensemble, but you have China and Russia that are arriving in these countries with different proposals. And listen, I don't know what's gonna happen, but if you look at what happened in all these countries, I'm gonna take one or two examples just to where I was like, this is becoming strange, right? When Omar Bongo, rest in peace, passed away, his son just became the president. Just like royals, right? And this didn't sit well with the population. And France had no problem with it because France was defending its interest in the country, which was continue pumping the oil, right? And the hypocrisy of France is there. They're going to look at something bad and they will say it's bad. But if they look at something bad, but their interest is that this bad thing appears, then they will be like, well, it's nothing to do with us. And another thing, the president in Ivory Coast, constitutionnellement, could only do 2 mandates. And he invented something to do a third one. And France, again, was like, do your thing. This didn't sit well with some people in the population. And it gave the idea to a lot of other presidents to do a third mandate. Why not? Since they let this one do it, I can do it too. And let me tell you what I learned in music. What I learned in music is that the worst, thanks for the heart, whoever gave them. And don't forget to put your likes, people. One thing I learned in music is that the two craziest drugs that make people crazy are money and power. Money and power make people go crazy. They make people believe that they can stay forever. And trust me, I know firsthand, because we used to be in the Mobutu era. We were there. So we've seen it firsthand years before everybody, when people are tired or when the US stops protecting you or decide it's time to go. And do we have to go through this? Yes, we have to. Countries coming from outside telling us, it has to be, listen, let us figure it out. We don't need you to intervene, because we've seen how you turned Libya. Let us stop meddling with other countries. Like, you did enough, and I understand. If you look in the point of view of a country like France, they're like, wait a minute. To be a rich country and to stay a rich country, we need to continue sucking the blood of these people. I understand. I'm French national. I understand. But at the same time, these other countries are like, listen, let's take Niger, for example. How are you taking all the uranium from my country to build and to feed your nuclear plants? We don't even have like stable electricity. Normally, you should do a deal. Yeah, we're using all your stuff, but we're gonna build you a plant. We're gonna make it work for you. stuff like that. Deals where instead of just taking stuff from other people and having a class of people who lead them that is rich and everybody else is poor, if you made it so that this country were rich enough that everybody feels more or less happier, richer, in a better level, then we would not be here. But as always, humans are greedy. And this is where we are now. It's very interesting what's happening. I'm not gonna say that I'm feeling good about it, because everybody's human in this thing. But as always, like, once you abuse your position and you just want to stay too long in power, this is what happens. If I became the president of Congo and I decided to prepare the country for its evolution, let's say in 10 years, right? I'm 59, and I decide, I'm becoming the president of this country, etc. The first thing that I would do, I would say, listen, I'm not sure how long is a president, if it's 5 years or 4 years. But the first thing I would say is, I'm here for 10 years. And for the next 10 years, I'm going to prepare this, prepare that, prepare this, prepare that. And once I reach the end of my 10 years, I'm out. And I will be out for real. And hopefully those who come after me will continue the work. And then, people call you from France, from Washington, from Belgium, from here and there. You have to stay. There's nobody that can replace you. And my response would be, I don't give a fuck, I'm out. The problem is, once you're in there, it's not just about the money. Because how much money do you need? 1 million? Okay, you can spend 1 million. 10 million? You can spend 10 million if you have a lot of wives and kids and everybody wants, okay. 100 million? Is that enough? 300 million? How much you need? Listen, if I had 20 million, I'd be fine. I don't believe that I need more than 20 million. I would need more if I want to invest in stuff, etc. But listen, when I'm just talking about living great, so listen, with what I have now, I live great already. But with 20 million, listen, one house in Thailand, one house in Portugal, a house for my mom in here, studies for my brothers and sisters, children, for my cousins, for the people that I love, etc., etc. Okay, 10 million on the side, blah, blah, blah. 20 million, I'm good. So it's not a question of money. It's a question of ego, power. You want to stay in power just because you want to stay in power. I've seen this in the music industry. And trust me, the music industry is a microcosm of politics and of geopolitics. You learn a lot about politics by being in the music industry. Some people want to be famous just because of how it feels to be famous. They got famous because they had a great song. And in the beginning, they just wanted to do great songs. But then they get famous. They fuck a lot of girls. People love them. They go on the street, people know them. They cannot go to the store or to the restaurant without taking photos. And then they get hooked on this fame, power. They can make careers just by singing on a song. They can make you a star too, just by signing you to their labels. They can make you a star. And then they believe that they have to be there and that they are owned being there. And then time goes by and they get less famous because there's new kids coming, because their songs get old or their fans get old. The super fans have other things to do. And then they become depressed because they're on drugs, the drugs of power, the drugs of ego, fame. I've seen this happen so many times. And the fans don't help. The blogs don't help. People are like, you fell off. We don't see you. You're not famous anymore. People love to remind you that you're not famous anymore. And if you're not strong in the head, you start doing everything to stay famous or to be famous again. So you start doing stupid shit so you can be famous. And I've seen this. Listen, I receive messages all the time of people telling me, we don't see you in the clubs anymore. You're not famous anymore. I don't see your music videos on Trace anymore. Blah, 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 blah. You're not doing shows anymore. And I reply to people, yeah, I'm almost 50. The people who are supposed to be famous are 20. And I'm famous. I'm just not buzzing. And I don't need to be famous because I don't do this for the fame. I always did this to express myself. I always did this because I had a mission. The mission was not to be famous. Fame is a byproduct. And a lot of people, before they are famous or before they are powerful or before that they are put in charge of a label, a country, a song, whatever it is, they all have amazing discourse. I'm going to be like this. I'm going to be like that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And in reality, once fame hits you, money and power hit you, you don't know. It depends how you've been educated, and it depends what kind of person you are. A lot of people, it gets to their head. They just become obsessed with the idea of getting famous, when in reality, their mission was something else. My mission is to save my country. My mission is to clean up the country, the laws, the contracts we have with other country. Make sure that in 500 years we arrive here. So if I'm here for 10 years, I have to just switch the country to this direction. And then hopefully it will continue this way. Now, they're going to switch the country here. And then instead of letting somebody else take the country there, they're going to say, I cannot leave yet because, well, we're not there yet. So I need another 5 years, guy. Please, another 5 years. Okay, we're here. You're supposed to go. Well, let me. Because you have bodyguards, you have X, you have Z, you have that, you have free wives, you have chicks, you have power, you have people licking your feet, calling you king, etc. And you forget. Listen, when I got famous, all the yes people and the people who propose you all type of stuff and tell you all the compliments, they were around me too. And I look at them and I told them, you guys are not my friends. What do you want? No, we have drugs, we have girls, we have this. And I was like, I don't need all that. And maybe because I've seen the fall of the Mobutu government from, listen, we were kids, but we saw it from inside. We saw the uncles, the parents, everybody. We lived the exile. So we know how it feels when the castle, the empire crumbles. We know how it feels. So when I got famous, the first thing I said to myself was, okay, that's not the goal. I thought I would need 100 songs to be famous. Actually, I got famous from the first song, from Bounce Baby in 98. But to me, I was like, hey, listen, fame is just like beauty. It fades. When you want to build something, you have to focus on what you are building. And it's hard to stay focused on what you're building, because trust me, when you get famous, you get all the girls want to fuck with you. All the fake friends want to be friends with you. You listen, you go to the clubs for free. When you have money, you can pay, but now you don't pay. When you go to the club, they offer you drinks. When you go, there's a long line of 100 people waiting to get in for hours, and you just go through. All these things get in your head because you feel that you are important now and different from other people. So if one day they take you to a club and you have to wait outside, you don't think it's normal, when actually it is normal. When I go to countries when people don't know me, if I go to Thailand, for example, if I want to go to a club, I'm going to have to wait like everybody else because they don't know who I am. I mean, when I went to Thailand, there was one club when they know who I am. But you see what I mean? But this keeps you grounded. And a lot of people, when they arrive to the head of a country, it's not just them that want to stay there. It's them plus everybody under them. The corruption is not you. This is what I find funny with corruption. People love to say, oh, this guy is corrupted. Oh, Bongo is corrupted. Mobutu is corrupted. XYZ is corrupted. It's just because you're the head of the country, but in reality, the whole thousands of people that is a government, not just the head, everybody's corrupted. And you have some people that are not corrupted in there, but they cannot do nothing when it's a whole swamp of corrupted people. Because there's money, everybody's trying to make money, everybody's trying to save themselves. So you are the face of corruption, but in reality, there's a bunch of people under you. And all these governments who are talking to you and pointing fingers at you, like France, the US, they are corrupted too. It's just that they know how to, put some perfume on the bad odor. And that's the real issue. Sometimes